Excuse me. Hi, everybody. It's 11 o'clock on Wednesday, so we're doing brown bag lunch. I'm Dr. John Sherk. I'm having contractors at my house today, so I have snuck into one of the other rooms in our house to see if I can get this done for you with minimal interruptions from all of the chaos going on in my house. So today I want to talk about the two laws of authority. This is one of the most fundamental principles that if you are an owner or a leader in an air conditioning company, you really have to understand this. And the two laws are: I'm in charge, but you're more important than me. And so when we talk about I'm in charge, what does that mean? Well, in part, it means that you set the standard. In other words, do we wear booties every time we go into someone's house? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then that's the standard. And it is never a good idea to lower the standard or lower expectations as a way of trying to help out a tech or a way of being nice. Great cultures do not lower expectations as a way of minimizing conflict or somehow helping everything get done more simply, right? Whatever the expectations are, you're in charge of setting them. And there can be some negotiation. That's no problem there. But at the end of the day, it's on the leader, whoever has the authority, it's on them to set the bar. Another metaphor that gets used sometimes with my clients is if you imagine a playground with children in it. Researchers we study everything, I guess, but researchers who study children and how they play in playgrounds have noted that if the playground has a fence around it, they'll kind of equally use the space all around the playground. But if there's no fence, they'll kind of huddle to the middle because they don't know what the boundaries are, right? The same thing is true of the first law. Your people need for you to establish what is the fence around this playground. What are the lines that we will not cross? And then the second law is, but you're more important than me. So the worst version of using authority in a company involves an owner or a manager walking into a room, laying down a very difficult expectation and saying, from this point, this is your problem, and walking out of the room. All right. That's a poor use of authority. Good use of authority sets that high bar and then offers as much support as is required so those people succeed in getting over that bar. Okay. So this is also, by the way, the opposite of building a relationship after hours, where if you say, look, we need a great culture, let's go get beers after work. The problem is that it can help, but you're building a relationship without the authority in it, right? We're all going to kind of sit over beers and pretend that the boss isn't the boss, and we're kind of all on equal footing, okay? And then that gives us a little bit of grace when we go back, but we can kind of spend that down fast depending on how the leadership carries itself and how the rank and file carry itself in that company. So what we're talking about here is giving a level of support that is felt in a relational way by that person who's under authority, meaning their relationship with you has the authority in it. And the fact that you are their boss is really good news to them, because they know, yes, you're going to create an expectation. That's going to be assumed because that's what bosses do. But you're an unusual boss because you stay with them and make sure they succeed. You stay with them and support them in whatever way is required. And if, for example, you have an air conditioning company and it's 105 degrees outside, you have an extra challenge, right? So we don't lower expectations, but we increase support in all kinds of ways. You guys know your business. You know how this works. So I'm in charge, but you're more important than me. Take a moment and think about the people who report to you now. Are you setting the bar for them, or is it fuzzy? And if it's fuzzy, what's the end game of that fuzziness? Is it avoiding conflict? Is it avoiding you feeling like you're being a bad guy? Is it what is allowing you? What is triggering in you fuzziness about expectations. And whatever that is, I encourage you to change that, because the number one issue that causes disengagement in a workforce is lack of clear expectations. So when you go to create those expectations, how clear are you? You may want to ask your people, how clear am I? Right? And then as soon as those expectations land and they're clearly communicated, your job is to go into support mode. What do they need? How can I help? What do they need? How can I help? What do they need? How can I help? Until they get all the way across the finish line. And of course, they get the credit, not you, when they cross the finish line. And when this happens repeatedly, your culture will blossom, because the authority is felt to be used for them and not against them. Okay? So that's it. I'm in charge, but you're more important than me. Listen, if what I talk about in these brown bag lunches feels relevant to you and you'd like to talk more about it, by all means, reach out to us, put a comment below. Love to get on a Zoom call with you and talk for a few minutes. And if you just want to get to know each other better, happy to do that as well. If you like what you see, please tell your friends. Please share these brown bag lunches. I'm trying to do what I can to create great content that adds a lot of value, and you don't have to pay for it. So that's it. I'm Dr. John Sherk. Have a great week.